It is Wednesday, and this is our time to look at James chapter 3. I hope you've been following along with me as we've been looking at this book and reading one chapter each day. I challenge you to find time to read one chapter of James each day. Today is James 3. I was recently reading in a daily devotion. This is a devotional book written by Tony Dungy. He was a former NFL coach, now NFL commentator. And his faith really has shaped a lot of who he is and how he operates. And if you watch football, or if you watched football, if you kind of follow him, you know that he stands out in a crowd of flamboyant, a crowd of exaggeration and hyperbole. He's just very matter-of-fact, down to earth, very simple, kind with his words, good with his words, and leadership. Tony Dungy wrote about James chapter 3 one day, and he said in October 1871, two great fires occurred in the Midwest. Now, you probably instantly think of the Great Chicago Fire. I didn't realize that there was a second one until I read this. He said the Great Chicago Fire killed 250 people, left 1/4 of Chicago homeless. The other one, the Great Peshtigo, I think is how you pronounce it, fire of the forests of the northern Michigan and Wisconsin, affected 1.5 million acres and killed approximately 1,500 people. Today in James, you're going to see about the power of the tongue, how it can set a forest afire and it can cause great damage. The way that we speak to one another, the way that we interact with our family, with our coworkers, even with our own self, can really determine and set some things in motion that are not positive or are very constructive and building. Our world has a way of shaping things, and this second fire of 1.5 million acres, 1,500 lives lost, somehow gets diminished in the Great Chicago Fire. Our world has a way of looking at things and not really prioritizing or balancing or presenting all of the facts and the truth. We see that over and over and over again in our news, in our world, in our history reports. Today, I want us to look not at the inconsistencies that are around us, but the inconsistencies that are in us. The inconsistencies in which we share the power and the purpose of God in our lives. As we read God's word, as we look for direction. But then with the same tongue, with the same mouth, we cast down, we put down, we curse down others that are around us. We badmouth, we talk ungodly, unwholesome, un-Christ-like. Today I want us to look at who we are as we speak to one another. Speak with psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Paul writes, are our words really filled with God's words, or are our words filled with our own measure of our heart? Today I want to challenge you as you read chapter 3, as you see who you are, as you see the potential of where you need to go and what you need to do. It starts, number one, with a decision in your mind and in your heart that I will be a Christ follower. I know that there's a better way for me to live, for me to think, for me to speak in my life. I want you to start with that decision today. Make that known. Would you put that in your comment that I want to be a Christ follower today? Number two, would you share a verse here in chapter 3 that really speaks to your heart, that encourages you, that leads you, that challenges you in your walk? And number three, would you take some time to speak a word of encouragement, a word of blessing, a psalm, a hymn, a spiritual song to somebody in your life today? Get this offline and personal. Pick up the phone, go to their door, talk to someone in your home, and speak these words of encouragement, of blessing, of God's words today. The words that we use can be a great blessing or can be destructive. I pray today we will focus, we will choose, we will decide to let our words be a blessing to all those around. And it will be a blessing for our own mind as well. Have a great day.